back to Washington Watch. I'm Tony Perkins. Good to have you with us. Correction, earlier in our last segment, I said Greg Steube was a member of the House Armed Services Committee. He's actually on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. President Biden took what I would call a major rhetorical step yesterday when he confirmed that he considers Russian President Vladimir Putin a war criminal. This signifies the harshest criticism from any administration official to date. But more than a week ago, Congress held its first hearing to hold Putin accountable, pressing for the prosecution of Putin for war crimes. Here to discuss this is Congressman Chris Smith of New Jersey. He is the ranking member of the Congressional Executive Commission on China, co-chair of the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, senior member on the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, and also the ranking member on the Subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, and Global Human Rights in International Organizations. Chris, welcome back to the program.
Tony, thank you so very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
I want to play this clip very quickly of the president yesterday being asked this question about whether or not Vladimir Putin was or is a war criminal. Play clip number one, please.
Mr. President, after everything we've seen, are you ready to call Putin a war criminal?
No.
Are you ready to meet with him?
Did you ask me whether I would call?
Putin a war criminal, sir. Are you ready to
Oh,
call him a war
I think he is a war
Will
criminal.
you be meeting with
All right, a lot of noise back there. This was at a White House event. He was asked by a Fox reporter, Mr. President, after everything you've seen, are you ready to call Putin a war criminal? Biden said no, but then 30 seconds later, did you ask me whether I would call, and the reporter said, a war criminal? He said, oh, I do think he is a war criminal. Now, let me ask you, Congressman Smith, that declaration by the president, that's words, but words require actions. What would be the next step?
Well, the next step would be for the State Department, which is already suggesting it needs to further investigate. I mean, who launched this blitzkrieg into Ukraine that is analogous to the Nazis going into Poland in 1939? It was Putin. And we have seen every day that civilians are being targeted, schools, hospitals, and that is absolutely a violation of Geneva Conventions. It's also, it is de jure a war crime, and the person doing it is Vladimir Putin. I believe, and this is what our hearing was focused on, that he needs to be designated as a war crime. A tribunal, international tribunal, needs to be set up immediately, no delay, like we've done in the past, and so designate him. It can be done almost overnight. And then to the record, his other atrocities could be added going forward. But the evidence is overwhelming. And Tony, you know this because you were very much involved in this. When ISIS was slaughtering Christians, and many of them made their way into Erbil, and I went there and visited with those individuals, the State Department couldn't call that a genocide. It took a resolution by Jeff Fortenberry to put the Congress on record calling it a genocide, and it was a genocide. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And now, delay is denial when you're talking about these designations, because I do believe if he's so designated a war criminal and the tribunal is set up immediately, it will have some chilling effect on other people's complicity in these horrific crimes.
The one thing that's unique about this, Congressman Smith, is that technology. We saw what happened in Erbil or in the Middle East in that region, but technology is such that we're very connected with what's happening with Ukraine, where we're seeing in real time not just news footage, but very graphic clips being sent from individuals and being posted on social media accounts. And so the evidence, as you said, is right there. Times past, we had to wait to collect the evidence after the conflict was over and we had to sort through the rubble. We have it right now. So the next step would be for the State Department to go to the United Nations and call for action, would it not?
Absolutely. And I have a resolution that calls for that. We do want the president to take the lead. If not, some other foreign head of state should take the lead, but it ought to be the United States of America. We ought to be out front. It's important that we give Zelensky the kind of defensive aid capability that he desires. Why wasn't it given a year ago? Now, as those troops are beginning to amass and get deployed on the border under the pretext of war games with Lukashenko in Belarus. But that said, this could be part of a holding to account, and hopefully, the people around Putin, including the Russian people, if the world coalesces around your president is a war criminal, they might be less inclined to follow. And that goes for the soldiers as well. And Tony, we've seen those clips of those young conscripts, those young Russian soldiers who didn't have a clue that this is what they were going to be called upon to do. So I think we need to spread that kind of accountability throughout the entire ranks. And look at all the people protesting in Moscow and elsewhere. And of course, they're being batted down and hit and hurt by the Russian secret police. But that said, those numbers will grow if an indictment is handed down immediately. And let me also say, it ought to be done, if we can't do it in the Security Council, which is unlikely because of the veto power that both China and Russia has, well, then let's do it in the General Assembly. And that's where a resolution could be offered and a tribunal established.
Very quickly, Congressman Smith, before we're out of time, what can our listeners and viewers do?
Well, I think call your congressman, pray, and I think prayer more than anything else is needed during these atrocities, which absolutely breaks your heart. When President Zelensky gave his address virtually to a joint session of Congress, and I was there like I think every other member, he showed a video clip that was just, not unlike what we see every night. But
right.
When you see all of those people, call your congressman, call the White House. I think the number, if I'm not mistaken, is 456-1414. Call them and say, tribunal, indict them. Why wait? We waited with Milosevic. We waited with Charles Taylor in Rwanda, and he was president of Liberia. I was pushing for the one for Yugoslavia for months and then years. It was very slow, but now, as you pointed out so well, this is in real time. We see it all.
Right.
We can always add to the indictment.
Congressman Chris Smith, we're out of time, but always great to talk with you. Thanks for your leadership on Capitol Hill.
Tony, thank you so very much. And thank you for your leadership, both on Capitol Hill and throughout this country. It's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Stick with us, folks. We're coming back with more after this.